Are you just starting out as a facilitator? Are you maybe seasoned as a facilitator, but you're running into some difficulties? Maybe you're a lean professional, lean specialist, just getting started, green belt, certified, and you've realized how essential facilitation is to conducting good lean events and helping teams to reach their goals. If that sounds like you, stick around. I'm going to talk about the 6 essentials to great facilitation. Here we go. If you don't know me, my name is Andrew Frazier. I am just starting this channel, and it's a channel devoted to lean specialists looking to upskill in facilitation. I've got several years of green belt knowledge and facilitation, as well as project leadership role knowledge under my belt. Led projects for the last 9 years, including lean projects, including various other things for the Department of Defense. And I've got some knowledge and wisdom to share with you about how to lead teams towards objectives and facilitate well. Here's number one. You need a mentor. You need an inspiration. At first, you don't really know what your voice looks like, what your personality when you're facilitating looks like, and it probably doesn't feel natural to you. Well, one of the best places that you can go to learn about that is a mentor. They can reflect back to you what it is that you are doing. If something feels natural, it doesn't feel natural. If you are just looking for, takes on how to speak this way or how to have a certain presence, how to phrase yourself or use metaphors or humor, whatever it might be, you need an inspiration. Sometimes it means just going to YouTube and checking out speakers, on stage speakers. People often relate facilitation to public speaking. And while it's a little bit different set of skills, I apologize, I got my finger in the screen there. Like I said, new channel. While people might be relating public speaking to facilitation, and there's a lot of similarities, it's different. Still, you can watch someone like Simon Sinek, like Tony Robbins, put on when they're in front of a seminar, in front of a group, giving a speech, and you can watch how they facilitate and conduct the group. If you haven't heard of Phil Jones, I highly recommend looking at his stuff. Most of his online content or YouTube content is he's in front of an audience, and you can see how he conducts himself and use him as an inspiration. If you're a lady out there, find a lady that you can jive with that feels like this style is more towards what would be my style or is my style, and learn from them. Take notes and just dive right into their content. The number 2 is studying people, studying yourself. More than anything, you must study yourself. What do you do? What do you like to do? What do you do well? And this kind of, again, each one of these things build onto each other, but it builds onto essential number 1. When you know yourself, you know who to look for, what, are you a gesturer? Like, I'm a gesturer. I like to gesture, and they say that gesturing is a form of honesty, and obviously it's a form of expression. I gesture a lot, and I know that about myself. I've paid attention enough to know that's going on. I'm not ignorant to it. It's not like someone would say, you gesture a lot, and I'd be just, oh, what are you talking about? No, I don't, because that's not true. I know that about myself, and I've done a lot of learning about myself to know how well I speak, what my verbal intonations are, and just knowing myself. Knowing yourself is essential. You also need to know people, not to like the level of psychology, but you need to study people. You need to study common reactions. You need to study body language. You need to study intonations and word choice and all the major personalities. Just pick one. Pick like Ocean, for example. Go learn and study Ocean so that you can categorize people subconsciously or internally, and understand a little bit better about how to interact with them. If your goal is to question them, how are they going to react to questioning? How are they going to react to ideation and brainstorming? These essential things that you're going to need to know as a facilitator, especially in a volatile environment like what could be a lean improvement event. So that's number 2, is studying people and yourself. Number 3 is effectively using your curiosity. And I say effective curiosity. It's not just active listening. It's not just asking questions. It's deeper. Effective curiosity. Effective curiosity is kind of what I'm coining. I haven't seen it used elsewhere, but it's my way of saying you're on a topic and you stick to that topic, and you are being thematic and purposeful. You're scoping and bounding the questions that you're asking, first off, so that it's on a path. You're not manipulating, but you're staying thematic and you're staying within the bounds of whatever topic might be. You're not asking about the weather if you're talking about cars. It could be you can see the relation there, but it's not within the scope. You're also listening to the word choice of the people that are talking. You're listening to their word choice. You're listening to their tonality. You're listening to the emotion that they're inflecting their words with, and what their choices are. You're watching for just their body language. You're studying people, and it builds on number 2. But that effective curiosity goes deeper. It means you're reacting to what's going on. You're asking open questions, not closed-ended questions. You're not asking questions that mean you're going to get a yes or a no. You're leading with what, why, and how. More what and how than why. But we'll get into that in a future episode. So effective curiosity. You're staying within bounds. You're asking questions. You're curious. You care about the responses that are being given, so you're listening and you're being as empathetic as you possibly can. But you're also trying to progress the conversation, progress the discussion, progress the ideation, the problem solving, whatever it might be, in a natural direction, which is towards a conclusion. You're digging deeper towards a point. You're using just enough open questions to get to a point where, hey, that's a great idea. Why don't you put that down on paper and then move on to the next one? So effective curiosity is super essential. And I've gotten lots of compliments about how I ask questions, my ability to discern and break down complex conversations because of my effective curiosity. So don't overlook it. It's essential. So number 4 is preparation and planning. You're going to be running an event. It's going to take a certain amount of preparation and planning, of course, but it's understated to say that it's important. You have to dissect the conversation that you're going to have. You have to dissect the problem statement, dissect the business case, the impact that you're looking for the group to make, and really that you're just helping the group to make. It's not you, but your tool choices, the sequencing, all the stuff that you're planning to do with the group is absolutely essential. It's the backbone. It's the framework. And everything else kind of fills in the gaps, but your preparation and the plan that you put together, the agenda, is the backbone that you're going to be using to structure the event, structure the workshop, structure the progress. And you have to map it out. It's not just planning though, it's also preparation. I touched on this in a recent video, which is prepare yourself. Prepare your gut. Prepare your mind and your emotions for what might happen, what resistances you might encounter, who's going to be there, what kind of personalities, all that kind of preparation that you might need to manage yourself properly. And if you're curious about more about that, you can go watch the previous episode. Number 5 is injecting humor. I love injecting humor. I believe that it's the only way to get through adult learning is to inject humor, and inject humor in a way with good timing. It takes timing, it takes awareness, it takes, I mean, just some naturalness to it, and it takes work. I've worked years on it, and it's not perfect. I've screwed up. I've made bad jokes, and there's a tricks to that, right? If you make a bad joke, there's a tricks to getting through that. And the key is going to be a balance between seriousness, meeting objectives, and professionalism, poise, managing conversation, managing personalities, everything that you're there to facilitate and do, making progress, getting through the tools, but also having some fun. You're there to make change, and change is going to be difficult for a lot of people. And there's people that say this, just change, people don't change. Period. There's that thought out there, and you have to be aware of that. And maybe you can make better progress with someone like that in the room if you were to use humor. Adult learning takes experiential learning. It takes an experience. They need to feel it. And one of the best ways that I think to help people make progress or have a positive experience is with humor. So as much as you can, inject humor. Number 6, and last essential skill that I have for you today, is presence. Presence I boil down into a couple of categories, and that's your speech, your physicality, like how you're posturing yourself, and then your proximity. How close are you to the people speaking? Virtually, there's a little bit of, it's not quite as difficult. It's probably a little more simplified if you're doing a virtual facilitation, but it's still there. So speech, there are super key essentials to speech. I recommend Vin Jiang. He's essentially my mentor, my inspiration when it comes to bettering my speech, having better tonality, better pacing, pausing properly. He breaks it all down beautifully. That's his area of expertise. I'm still learning, but I'm also passing on the knowledge as best I can to you folks and other people that have been curious about it. So your speech as a facilitator is super important. That's how you're going to convey instructions, is how you're going to interact with the groups. Of course, you know all that. Speech is important. Then you have posture. How are you standing physically? Are you saying confidence? Are you relaxed? Are you gesturing a lot? Like I talked about earlier, I gesture a lot when I talk. Sometimes less gestures means it's a more serious topic. You gesture more. The more you gesture, the more it seems like it's not quite as serious and more jovial in nature. And that's fine. You just have to know and work on timing with your physicality. Then you've got your proximity. Proximity, I think, is the hidden key to facilitation. There's a couple of hidden keys, and that's one of the big ones, is proximity. I found that moving in and out of conversation and moving to the side, left and right, obviously not trying to interfere with them, looking at visuals and stuff, but just being aware of where the conversation is in the room and moving towards it to show that when you want to be engaged, or maybe when you want the conversation to progress, is a great way to use a proximity. Proximity can also be used to disrupt off-topic conversations or conversations that are getting a little bit spicy. You, as a facilitator, should move closer. Maybe you can remember back to in the classroom when your teacher, maybe you were having a side conversation with a buddy in the next row, a friend in the next row, and you're not supposed to be, everybody's like quiet and you're speaking hushed. You don't see it, but then the teacher, you just notice all of a sudden the teacher is right there. And what do? you stop what you're doing and you quiet down and you pay attention, or you get back to what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So proximity is a real thing. It's a real facilitation tool that I think a lot of people just think they have to stand up front. You just stand up front and you don't move and you point. You might point this way, you might point that way, and you just basically kind of stay in this like 3-foot circle. No. People actually, when you move with them in the conversation, move in and out and left and right, it does something. It just creates engagement. So proximity was essential number 6. That's it for today. Those are the 6 essentials to facilitation that if you want to be a great facilitator, those are the essentials. That's what I have boiled it down to after years of facilitating small groups, large groups, meetings, events, workshops. And I hope that you found value today. And please consider liking this and subscribing. This is a brand new channel. I'm still working out the bugs. Talking to a camera instead of talking to live people, it's quite different, but hopefully you enjoyed it today. Again, you're awesome. Have a great day.